നമഃ പരമർഷിഭ്യോ നമഃ പരമർഷിഭ്യാം. ഹരി ഓം. അന്തരായതിനിരൂപശാന്തയേ ശാന്തപാവനം അചിന്ത്യവൈഭവം തം നരം വപുഷി കുഞ്ചരം മുഖേ മന്മഹേ കിമപി തുന്തിലം മഹാം. ഗുരുർബ്രഹ്മാ ഗുരുർവിഷ്ണുഃ ഗുരുർദേവോ മഹേശ്വരഃ ഗുരുഃ സാക്ഷാത് പരം ബ്രഹ്മ തസ്മൈ ശ്രീ ഗുരവേ നമഃ. ഈശ്വരോ ഗുരുരാത്മേതി മൂർത്തിഭേദവിഭാഗിനേ വ്യോമവദ്വ്യാപ്തദേഹായ ദക്ഷിണാമൂർത്തയേ നമഃ. യസ്യാന്തന്നാദിമധ്യം ന ഹി കരചരണം നാമ ഗോത്രം ന സൂത്രം നോ ജാതിർനൈവ വർണ്ണാ ന ഭവതി പുരുഷോ നാനപുംസം ന ച സ്ത്രീം നാകാരം നൈവകാരം ന ഹി ജനിമരണം നാസ്തി പുണ്യം ന പാപം തത്വം നോ തത്വമേകം സഹജസമരസം സദ്ഗുരും തം നമാമി. സദാശിവസമാരംഭാം ശങ്കരാചാര്യമധ്യമാം അസ്മദാചാര്യപര്യന്താം വന്ദേ ഗുരുപരമ്പരാം. മൗനവ്യാഖ്യാ പ്രകടിതപരബ്രഹ്മതത്ത്വം യുവാനം വർഷിഷ്ഠാന്തെ വസദഋഷിഗണൈരാവൃതം ബ്രഹ്മനിഷ്ഠൈഃ ആചാര്യേന്ദ്രം കരകലിതചിന്മുദ്രം ആനന്ദമൂർത്തിം സ്വാത്മാ രാമം മുദിതവദനം ദക്ഷിണാമൂർത്തിമീഡേ. വേദാന്താർത്ഥവിഭാസകായേതയേ ശാന്തായ സന്യാസിനേ നാനാവാദിനഗേന്ദ്രസംഗപവയേ യോഗീന്ദ്രവന്ദ്യായ ച മോഹധ്വാന്തദിവാകരായ ഭഗവത്പാദാഭിതാം ബിഭ്രത്തെ തസ്മൈ ഭാഷ്യകൃതേ നമോസ്തു സതതം പൂർണ്ണായ ബോധാത്മനെ. അപാര സച്ചിത് സുഖവാരിരാശേഃ യസ്യോർമിമാത്രം ഭുവനം സമസ്തം ഗുഹാഹിതം തം രമണം ഗഭീരം ചിന്താവിഹീനം ഹൃദി ചിന്തയാമി. ദേഹം മൃണ്മയവജ്ജഡാത്മകം അഹം ബുദ്ധിർന തസ്യാസ്ത്യതോ നാഹം തത്തദഭാവസുപ്തിസമയേ സിദ്ധാത്മസദ്ഭാവതഃ. കോഹം ഭാവയുതഃ കുതോ വരധിയാ ദൃഷ്ട്വാത്മനിഷ്ഠാത്മനാം സോഹം സ്ഫൂർത്തിതയാ അരുണാചലശിവഃ പൂർണ്ണോ വിഭാതി സ്വയം. ഹൃദയകുഹരമധ്യേ കേവലം ബ്രഹ്മമാത്രം ഹ്യഹമഹമിതി സാക്ഷാത് ആത്മരൂപേണ ഭാതി. ഹൃദി വിഷമനസാ സ്വം ചിന്വതാമജ്ജതാവാം പവനചലനരോധാദ് ആത്മനിഷ്ഠോ ഭവത്വം. യസ്മാജ്ജാതം ജഗത്സർവം യസ്മിന്നേവ പ്രലീയത്തെ ഏനേദം ധാര്യത്തെ ചൈവ തസ്മൈ ജ്ഞാനാത്മനേ നമഃ. പ്രജ്ഞാനാം ശുപ്രധാനൈഃ സ്ഥിരചരനികരവ്യാപിഭിർവ്യാപ്യ ലോകാൻ ഭുക്ത്വാ ഭോഗാൻ സ്ഥവിഷ്ടാൻ പുനരപി ധിഷണോദ്ഭാസിതാൻ കാമജന്യാൻ पीत्वा सर्वान् विशेषान् स्वपिति मधुरपुङ् मायया भोजयन्नः मायासङ्ख्यातुरीयम् परम् अमृतम् अजम् ब्रह्म यत्तन्नतोऽस्मि अरुणाचलशिरोद्भूतसम्प्रदायप्रवर्तकम् करुणार्णवमीडेतम् रमणाख्यम् अहम् महः। One devotee asked Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi, what is your central teaching? For which Bhagavan said, center itself is my central teaching. In another context, Bhagavan said, silence is my teaching. And we have here the presence of Lord Shiva in the form of Dakshinamurti, whom Bhagavan addresses as the primordial silent teacher. And that silence is not lack of words. Words are used so that you can communicate, convey something. But words or language is limited. Suppose if I speak for last 6 days, the talk was in Tamil. So many who were not able to understand Tamil, they wanted a talk in English. That itself shows the limitation of language. What it conveys is also limited. And the very instrument with which you convey is also limited. And silence is not simply to keep the mouth shut. It is where the listener ceases to be and the speaker is not, and the teaching is nothing but pure experience of the self. Where there is no division, where there is no intermediary of the mind. The mind is not at all intruding. And the communication is absolute oneness. It's not that a person is giving you the teaching, but the teacher swallows the student. And the teacher is also not there, the teaching is also not there, It is the silence of the first person, second person and third person. I am not there, you are not there, and somebody else is also not there. We call it as pramana, prameya and pramatra. The knower, the known, and the knowledge cease to exist, and the effulgence of pure knowing, effulgence of awareness is absolute. And there, self-knowledge becomes so simple, so direct, so immediate, that it is not demanding any effort from you, or you can say it is absolute, complete effort of keeping yourself in abeyance. Today, you might have seen the notice board where they have put, for last 6 days, we were having Ulladin Arpad, Bhagavan's 40 verses on reality. So the same subject they have announced will be put in English. But that is very difficult because it's 40 verses are there. And each verse, every day we used to give a talk on a single verse for 2 hours. So today I have changed the subject. Actually, I have changed the name, but the subject is same. Because there is only one subject. That is Bhagavan's Atma Vidya Kirtanam. The song on self-knowledge, Atma Vidya. Actually, this is a song. This is not a hymn. This is a song. Bhagavan has written a song on Atma Vidya, self-knowledge. You know, one of the most learned and devout disciple of Bhagavan was Sri Muruganar. He wrote about 40,000 verses elucidating Ramana Maharshi's teachings. About 40,000 verses. So he was a great poet in Tamil. One day somebody sang a song in the presence of Bhagavan, a Tamil song. I hope you are able to listen it clearly, right? The Tamil song which says self-knowledge is very, very difficult. That song again and again repeats, the spiritual life or attainment of God or truth is very, very difficult. That song comes in the story of a great devotee, Nandanar, who was born in a very low caste, who had to toil all his life, but he was a jnani. So he was ultimately his own landowner, comes to know his worth and falls at his feet and asks him for teaching. Give me self-knowledge. Then this Nandanar, this great devotee, he sang, Ayye metta kathinam, Atma vidyai ayye metta kathinam. Atma vidya, this self-knowledge, he says is metta kadinam, means it is very, very difficult. You have to put tremendous effort, and he was giving yoga teaching. In that song, he was giving yoga teaching, and he says this is very difficult. The Kundalini Shakti has to arise from the source, the Muladhara to Sahasrara. And that is very difficult. That is the burden of that song. So somebody sang this song in front of Bhagavan. Muruganar, the great devotee, he was also sitting in front of Bhagavan. He himself is a great Tamil poet. He came to Bhagavan when he was a school teacher. We'll just look into his story also a little bit. He was a school teacher in Chennai, and he was also one of those who were helping this Tamil dictionary. So he was an authority in Tamil language. So he came to Bhagavan through his father-in-law. If you see Bhagavan's photograph, if you go to dining hall, there you can see in that photograph where all devotees are standing, you can clearly make out one person with a big belly and who wears a loin cloth like Bhagavan and stands with a kamandalam. Very tall person. His name is Dandapani Swami. So his daughter was Muruganar's wife. So naturally Dandapani Swami was a former devotee of Bhagavan. He wanted his son-in-law to become a great poet with the grace of Bhagavan. So he introduced his son-in-law to Bhagavan and lost his son-in-law. He gave Bhagavan's Who Am I in Tamil and Aksharamanamala in Tamil to Muruganar. And you know, a mature soul will be always carrying the picture of his guru in his unconscious. So the moment he saw Bhagavan's photo, that picture, all that woke up. He forgot himself. He identified himself with a great Tamil saint Manikya Vachakar, whom Shiva himself appeared as Guru and initiated. And he felt he himself is Manikya Vachakar and Shiva himself has come in this form to initiate him. So he felt now he was very attached to his mother. He was very attached to his mother, not to his wife. So the moment he saw Bhagavan's photo, he felt it is certain that my mother is going to lose me. He came here from Chennai and he wanted to present something to Bhagavan. In those days, the school teachers, they used to get very minimum money as salary. And he could not even afford to bring some fruits. So he directly went to Arunachaleshwara temple. There he wrote 10 verses praising Bhagavan and seeking the highest knowledge from Bhagavan's presence. So he wrote that 10 verses, Deshikapatikam, and he brought that as an offering to Bhagavan. So when he was entering Ramana ashram, see, you know why I am narrating all these stories. See, when I was speaking in Tamil, I was telling the same thing. When you walk inside ashram, you should be aware that each and every dust inside this compound is carrying so much impressions of great events, divine events, sacred events. Just like Kanagama, a great devotee of Bhagavan, she used to say, once I was narrating Bhagavatam, Krishna's story inside ashram, she told me, just as you say Vrindavana, each and every tree, every grass, every dust has recorded the presence of Krishna, so to each and every tree, every grass, every dust inside Ramanashramam, not even inside Ramanashramam, everywhere in Arunachala, has recorded the presence of Bhagavan. Bhagavan's presence is there, impression is there. It is impregnated with Ramana anubhuti. You have to know how to extract it, squeeze it out. We don't have the language to speak to rocks, the trees, the plants, the dust. They know only the language of silence. So unless we touch that deep, profound silence within us, we will not be able to decode it. So when Muruganar entered ashram, actually his name was not Muruganar, his name is Subramanyam. That is a Sanskrit name. So he was a great devotee of Tamil, so he changed his name as Muruganar in Tamil. So when he came, Bhagavan was waiting for him right on the gate of ashram. Actually, later on he told, I was really afraid because how to approach such a great person. In many ashrams, there are many laws and rules which you have to follow, but I don't know anything. Will I get a chance to be in his presence? With all these thoughts, he was coming. And right when he entered ashram, you can see the tree, that big tree there. Many Bhagavan's devotees, they have met Bhagavan right under that tree. So whenever we enter ashram, we see that ilupai tree, you can just see Bhagavan standing there. One devotee told me, long after Bhagavan's Mahasamadhi, another great devotee, direct disciple of Bhagavan, Vishwanatha Swami, one day came, walked inside ashram, and then he went to this pond near ashram, then Mulaipa, this Tirtham near ashram. There he sat, and he was almost like as if in trance. Another devotee was following him. After half an hour, Vishwanatha Swami told him, you know, today I had a rare vision where I saw Bhagavan walking this side, entering this pond and taking bath. This is long after Bhagavan's Mahanirvana. So all of Bhagavan's direct devotees, they were always living in that Bhavaloka. Our President Sundaranna used to say, if you ask Muruganar about Bhagavan, Muruganar will not be able to say Bhagavan. He will simply say Bha and will lose consciousness. He will be immersed in that. So that is the impact which they had. After seeing Bhagavan for so many years, after so many years, that inundation, that inebriation was not lost, even a small drop. I'm always reminded about a story where Ramakrishna, the great saint of Bengal, one day a woman, she was a devotee of Ramakrishna. She wanted to reform her husband who was a drunkard. So somehow she took her husband to Ramakrishna. And this person, Kali Krishna Ghosh, was looking at Ramakrishna through the window. At that time this bhajan was going on. So Ramakrishna was in that inundation, that lahari. So he was dancing. Even after that bhajan was over, Ramakrishna was again in that mood. That mood was continuing. This person looked at Ramakrishna and felt, oh, this Swami also belongs to our group. He is also a drunkard. And he went to Ramakrishna. He asked, nowadays I don't get any kick. What kind of drink you are using? What kind of liquor you are taking? Actually what he asked is whether it is country made or imported. And Ramakrishna told, it is pure country made, village made. If you take it a single drop, all your life you will be in inundation. Not for a day. All your life you will be in inundation. Do you want it? Yes. Yes, very much, he said. So, that kind of inundation, bhava, was there in all Bhagavan's direct disciples. We have seen Kunja Swami. I have seen Kunja Swami. I was fortunate only to see few of them. In his last days, Swami will be sitting like this. You will feel he is simply sitting. Some devotee asked Swami, I was also sitting there, I was a small boy at that time. Some devotee asked Swami, what are you doing, Swami? Swami said, what to do? I cannot walk. It is he was already 90 years old at that time. I cannot walk. So I am doing Arunachala Pradakshina. By walk you can only complete one Pradakshina, but inwardly I am doing 108 Pradakshina every day. And always you can go, approach him, even at midnight he will be full of stories of Bhagavan. Full of that bhava. So that is the impact you have when you touch truth. When you touch a knower of truth who is nothing but Brahman. You can never forget, because that impact is not in the mind, but you carry that impact somewhere deeper than mind. In yourself. So even if you forget your own father and mother, you can forget, but not your guru. So Muruganar, when he came to ashram, he saw Bhagavan. He simply forgot even to sing that song which he brought. And in Bhagavan's presence, he had some tremendous experience. Later on he told, some reporter of a magazine had an interview with Swami. He asked Swami what meditation you did. He asked a question to Muruganar, Swami, what meditation you did? Muruganar said, meditation? Bhagavan never gave me time even to close my eyes. Before I could close my eyes, I was finished. Over. I was swallowed. He was lost. He came to Bhagavan and he could not go back to his profession. He was a good school teacher. You lose everything by coming to Guru. He was a school teacher. He will go to railway station to go back to Chennai, and within 10 minutes he will walk back to ashram. You just imagine the distance. He will go to railway station, again come back. Then Bhagavan has to ask some other devotee to take Muruganar and put him safely inside the train so that he will go. One day he jumped, when the train was moving, he jumped and came back. So that is the spiritual attraction. It is not simple physical attraction. Physical attraction you can know, but this is something which pulls you from the roots. It's not some mental attraction. It's not some sensory attraction. It pulls you from the depth. Your very root is being pulled. Your very source is being touched. So ultimately, he could not continue his profession. He became a sadhu. He left everything, came to Tiruvannamalai. And he was staying in ashram for some days. He will come and sit in front of Bhagavan with his mouth wide open. He will not be conscious about anything else, looking at Bhagavan. Bhagavan used to joke about him, about Muruganar. But he will not be conscious even about that. One day ashram authorities, they said, we have a law here that you cannot always take food in ashram. So you have to give place to other devotees. So Muruganar felt, because he had no money, he has left everything, he has burnt his boats, he has abandoned everything and come here to be in the presence of Guru. And here, he has to, now there is only one path open, that he has to beg. So he came to Bhagavan and said, Bhagavan, now I won't get food here, I have to beg. You know what Bhagavan said? Bhagavan could have easily told management that you have to give food to Muruganar. But for Bhagavan, everyone was same. And he was concerned about the spiritual maturity of Muruganar, not about his physical comfort. So when Muruganar said, Bhagavan, I have only one path open now, I have to beg. Bhagavan said, Romba nalladu oi. He said, it is very good. Go and beg. I will teach you how to beg, and where to beg, and which street to beg, where you will get sacred, noble food. So, Bhagavan taught him. Bhagavan asked him to go to this street and take food, that street and take food, and he said, I have begged in every street of Tiruvannamalai. So you see, not simply inside ashram. You walk in the street near Arunachaleswara temple. Arunachala himself has walked in this street with a begging bowl. Not even with a begging bowl. His own hands were his begging bowl. So, Muruganar became a beggar. But he could have left some still retaining kingdom, that Ramana, that Raja of Ramana, that king of Ramana. He sent one of his officers asking Muruganar to be a court poet. They would have given him plenty of money, but he refused. He preferred to be a beggar in Tiruvannamalai. That Guhai Namashivaya has sung a song where he says, Uppili Kool. It is better to be a beggar in Tiruvannamalai and eat food without salt than to be a king outside Arunachala. I don't remember that song. மண்ணாளப் பெற்றிடினும் வானவரெல்லாம் பணிய விண்ணாளப் பெற்றிடினும் வேண்டேன் கண்ணாளர்க்கு சோணகிரி பித்தனார் சன்னதிக்கே பிச்சை உண்டு வாழப் பெறின். He said, I will beg in this Arunachala and live instead of becoming a king outside Arunachala. So Muruganar was living like that, in that intoxication, because the moment he came to Bhagavan, he got it. What we are seeking, he got in that presence. So this is the background of this Atma Vidya Kirtanam. We are already past 40 minutes now. So, a person who got the experience of self, and the only price that he had to pay is himself. That means complete price. And he got the Purnavastram, the whole. And he was sitting right in front of Bhagavan, while another devotee was singing a song where the burden of the song is self-knowledge is difficult. This is our subject today. Muruganar said, Bhagavan, I won't accept this. Nothing is more simple and easy than self-knowledge. So he changed that song. That song was like this. Ayye metta kadinam atma vidyayye metta kadinam. Ayye means sir. Metta kadinam means very difficult. Atma vidya means self-knowledge. This self-knowledge is very difficult. Hearing this, Muruganar sang, Ayye ati sulabham atma vidyayye ati sulabham. This atma vidya is very, very, very simple. Ati sulabham. It is so simple. Usually in Vedanta, we say it is just like a gooseberry in your hand, a fruit in your hand. Bhagavan says, it is more simpler than a fruit in your hand, because fruit is something away from you. But this is yourself. So it is not something, some object that you are carrying, but it is you yourself. So the self shines as the most directly perceived, self-evident truth. Even for the ordinary men, so real it is as to make even the gooseberry on the palm of one's hand appear unreal. Therefore, lo, very easy is Atma Vidya. Noyyartamakkumulam கையாமலகக்கனி பொய்யாயொழிய மிகு மெய்யாயுளதான்மாம் ஐயே அதிசுலபம் ஆன்ம வித்தை ஐயே அதிசுலபம். This much Muruganar wrote. And he took this song to Bhagavan and said, Bhagavan, please filling the blanks. Fill in the blanks. Just like a question paper. He gave to Bhagavan and said, Bhagavan, please complete the song. Give us a full song where you will give us the direct teaching, the immediate experience of the self. Nothing is more simple. Nothing is more immediate than Brahman, than Atman, than the self. It is always within you as I. The body is not so direct. The world is not so direct. The mind is not so direct. But the self is direct, immediate, always felt as I. The experience of self as I is what we call as, in Vedanta we call it as aparoksha. It means immediate. The world is not direct. You have to use the senses to see. It is there only in the waking state. Mind is only in waking state and dream state. But what is there in deep sleep? Where neither the body exists, nor the mind exists. The waking state, the body is there, the mind is there, I am. In the dream, the body is not there, the mind is there, I am there. In the deep sleep, neither the body is there, nor the mind is there. Am I there? It's a very tricky question. Am I there in deep sleep? If you identify with your individuality, you are not there. But you are there fully, wholly. And you love to be in that state. It is an universal experience where everyone cherish that state. It is the state where you are not gaining anything. You are losing everything. You are losing the world. You are losing the body. You are losing the mind. You are losing your personality. You are losing your sadhana, your God, your meditation. Nothing is there. With all this, you want to be in that state. Suppose you have to wake up by 4 o'clock and you have a very sweet, deep sleep and you wake up by 2 o'clock in the night. You look at the watch and you see 2 more hours are still there where you can go back to that state. What will be your feeling? Such joy arises from within that you don't even wait to think, just go inside. Why? In the waking state you will get many things, but you are not getting anything in deep sleep. In deep sleep, you don't get anything, you don't taste anything, you don't see anything, you don't touch anything. You yourself as a person is not there. And still, that intuition which says that state is always better than the waking state and dream state. Whatever you may get in the waking state, you will vote for that state. Where waking state is not, the mind is not, the body is not. And what is there in that state? What is there in that state which is divisionless, which is whole, where you are not a person, but you are there not as a person. You are there not as an individual. You are there not as a man or woman. And you are nothing but pure self, God there. You are Arunachala there. You are Shiva there. And Shiva alone is there. Shiva means pure joy, auspiciousness, wholeness. That sukha. See, this is the statement of Vedanta. Usually, when we say deep sleep is so precious, people will feel it is a very common experience of all. What is there in it? But Bhagavan is who am I, he starts that you have the complete experience of self in deep sleep. But to own that experience, you have to do self-enquiry in waking state. He didn't say in deep sleep you are ignorant. He says that state of self which is there in deep sleep, to own it, you have to do self-enquiry in waking state. Because deep sleep, although is giving you wholeness, it is not consciously being owned by you. It is only a natural state. Anything that nature gives, nature will remove. So in waking state, but that state proves you are there fully, without body, without mind, without ego. That is the only state where you experience bodilessness, mindlessness, egolessness, and full existence of yourself as Sukha Swarupa. And that state heals many of the mental problems. So Bhagavan here says, the very nature of the self, to regain the self-knowledge. Actually, you already have the experience of self. Not only in deep sleep, but in waking state also, in dream also. The very experience of I. The very meaning of I, the very import of I is not the body or the mind or the intellect. It is pure consciousness, deathlessness, wholesomeness, joy, peace, unadulterated, unalloyed, uninterrupted, experience of infinity or awareness. In Tamil, Bhagavan calls it as Unarvu Bodha. And that experience of I, you cannot consciously sleep. The moment you wake up from sleep, the first arising, the emergence of division is I. The moment you feel I, what does it mean? The moment it arises, it identifies with the mind, or it just expands as mind, expands as body, expands as world. Chid Vistaram, Chid Ghana. In Vedanta, we say in deep sleep it is Chid Ghana. And in dream and waking state, it is Chid Vistara. That simply expands. Consciousness expands as ego, expands as mind, expands as intellect, expands as body, expands as world. It spreads out as world. And now you want to go back and find out the Chid Ghana. That homogeneous experience of self without any name or form. Self with name and form is world. World without name and form is self. That's all. Existence is there in waking state, in dream state, in deep sleep state. Existence takes all names and forms in waking state. Existence appears as names and forms, as thoughts in dream state. Existence shines forth as itself in deep sleep state, but not conscious. When you do vichara, vigilantly, consciously, you experience your existence your I, your aham, your very nature as existence, awareness and completeness, wholeness, bliss, joy, purnatvam, where there is absolute deathlessness, amritatvam. That is what Bhagavan experienced in his that death experience, where he felt the body is being burnt, the body is being taken to cremation ground and burnt. But when the body is burnt, am I dying? Something from within is expressing itself as I. And that is not the body, that is not the mind. And what is it? And Bhagavan uses the word, there was a strange fascination for the mind to trace this I thought to its source. The expression of consciousness as I, that is actually grace. That is which happened for all devotees who came to Bhagavan. The moment they sat before Bhagavan, one look from Bhagavan, that current was awakened. That current was awakened. It continues even now. The moment you are in that presence, that current was awakened and a new stream you find which is not made of mind. A current you touch within you which is not made of matter, which is not made of mind, which is not made of anything that you see in the world, which is pure current of awareness, which is pure dhara. That is the word which Bhagavan uses, that dhara. That current of I. And the I is not at all adulterated by body or mind or thoughts or waking state or dream state or even the sleep. It is pure spandana, pure vibration of what? The primordial thing, which you may call as Brahman or God or Atman. It is the call of it. In Arunachala Aksharamanamale, Bhagavan says, Arunachala, you are dancing within me. You have that Tandava of Shiva, that dance of Shiva. And your dance is being felt within me as I. And when Bhagavan, in Aksharamanamale, Bhagavan says, I sought Arunachala for teaching. I asked Arunachala, Lord, give me teaching, so that reveal yourself to me. Tane tattvam idanai tane kattuvai Arunachala. Bhagavan says, Oh Arunachala, you are the self within me, reveal your glory, your real nature. And Bhagavan says, he heard Arunachaleshwara's voice from within, where Arunachala said, do not wait for me to reveal. You peep within, you look within, you pay attention to this I, and you will see that I is nothing but, that I is not you, that I is me. Now you think that I is this person or that person. Now you think that the I is the seeker, but the moment you do Atma Vichara, you pay attention to this I, Ahauruvai Nangarindu. In Arunachala Pancharatnam, Bhagavan says, when you pay attention to this I, when you observe I, you think that it is a small rivulet, and you see that I takes the enormous form of ocean. It is no more a river, but it is ocean. The moment you Ahavuruvai Nangarindu, Munnir Nadi Polum Oyume Ungan Arunachalane Or. Bhagavan says, the I is like a river, and the river itself ceases to be a river the moment it merges with the ocean. You cannot say where it merges, where it is river and where it is ocean. You go in a river and you cannot bifurcate, you cannot differentiate where the river ends and where the ocean begins. So too, the moment you follow the I thought to its source, you start paying attention to this I, the feeling of I. And what is this I? What is this dance of I? This experience of I. Even in a dark room, I am fully conscious of my existence. I am not conscious of another person who is sitting near me. I am not conscious of anybody else. But I am fully conscious of my presence, of my existence. And that is not the existence of the body. The body has no awareness of I. You can see people without leg, amputated, without hands. But the experience of integral experience of I remains without any division. The body is divided, the body is subtracted. Parts are being taken away from the body. No leg, no hands. But the experience of I is full. Now you see in medical science, they transplant everything. Liver, heart, kidney, intellect, even the body. Sometimes you can hope they will change the body also. But still, that continuing experience of one's existence as I remains unchanged, changeless. So what is this mystery? And the experience is already given to you. You need no teacher, no technique, no book, no method for that experience. Shankaracharya, in his profound work, Brahma Sutra, he begins with this discussion. He says, we are starting this Vedanta Vichara. Then he puts forth a question. Is the self known to all? The answer is yes. Everybody has the experience of the self as I. Then comes a counter question. If it is known, then why should we inquire? He says, it is known, but it is not known. It is known, it is experienced, but it is not being recognized as the deathless, absolute, infinite, pure self, but it is being misapprehended as body, as mind, as intellect, as ego, as a person, as a man or as woman. Only to remove this misapprehension and to recognize or to touch this awareness of I with your attention. To touch the awareness of your own existence with your own intelligence and to recognize this experience of I, it is just like pot space. See, inside pot, you have space. It's an usage that the space inside the pot is pot space and the space outside the pot is outer space. But actually, can the pot divide space? Whether the pot is there or the pot is broken, the space remains uncorrupted. You cannot divide the space with a pot or with a house or with a room. But the room or pot or a box gives you an impression as if space is being divided. But space, Akasha, is divisionless. So too the self, the experience of I am, Ellayara Olirum. Bhagavan says in Ulladinarpade, for an ignorant person, he has this misapprehension of being imprisoned in a body. The ignorant man is also having the experience of I, and jnani is also having the experience of I. But a person who has not recognized the depth of this experience, he thinks this I is limited to this body. But a jnani who has worshipped this I with his attention, who has paid absolute attention on this experience of I, and who has intimately known what it is, he knows that it is not something which is inside the body, it is timeless, it is spaceless, it is causeless, it is beyond the world, it is beyond the body, it is beyond the mind. The moment you experience or you come to know, recognize the knowledge of your I, then you know that I is without body. Ashariratvam. Somebody asked Bhagavan, can we attain liberation when the body is there? Bhagavan said, no. Then how is it possible? Bhagavan said, who told you that body is there? Your ignorance tells you the body is there. Enquire and find out whether it is there. Does the body announce its existence in deep sleep? The moment you know your awareness, the moment you know what it is, then you know that there is atyanta abhava of body in awareness. Then you know the body was not there in you, the body is not there in you, and the body can never appear in the self. The experience of I is not the experience of the body. Body is only sensation. One person whom I knew, his leg was amputated. And one day, after that surgery, he forgot that he has no legs. When a phone call came, he forgot that his right leg is not there. He stood up and fell. Then that gave him a deep insight. Later on he told, if the body is the self, can you ever forget the presence or absence of the limbs? So too you see, in medical field, they say phantom limb. The leg will not be there, but the itching will be there. Because the brain has not received the absence of leg. So the brain is giving you the message of itching, and you cannot itch. Because the limb is not there, how can you rub? So you have to take medicine to the brain. So too, Vedanta puts it reverse. It says, the body is seen, but it is actually not there. So when the Guru convinces you with the highest teaching that the awareness is without body, even though the body might be seen by others, it is there in the waking state. The mind is there in the dream state. The moment you experience your awareness or see what it is, and you are convinced of it, then you know that your real nature is bodiless, is mindless, is egoless, and it is pure, absolute, worldless self. Alokam. Bhagavan in Devi Kalotaram he gives that worldless state. Bhagavan was behaving like anyone else. He also had pain. He also had hunger. He also had all other things outside. But when you inquired, Bhagavan said, who is having this body? And that sarcoma was giving him so much trouble. When devotees asked Bhagavan, You are having so much suffering. Bhagavan said, who told you? Only you see my body. Only you see my body. You superimpose body on myself. One day he was walking with so much difficulty. He was about to fall. And one devotee wanted to hold. Enna pandre? Bhagavan asked in Tamil, what are you doing? He said, Bhagavan, I was trying to hold you. Bhagavan looked at him. Nee vizhama paathuko porum. Hold on to yourself. Don't you fall. Nee vizhama paathuko. And later on, Bhagavan one day he said, everyone will come and inquire to him, Bhagavan, how is your health? The disease is so difficult. And you know, there is in a Sanskrit Subhashitam, it says, the maximum people in the world, do you know who they are? The majority, they are doctors. Because you have some disease, everyone will have a prescription. Especially if you are a loved one, everyone will come with some medicine, some prescription, some doctor's name, something. Freely everyone will give you medicine. And that is very difficult. That was what was happening to Bhagavan. So everyone will come with some medicine, everyone will prescribe some medicine, some new doctor, something will be always happening around him. And Bhagavan will never say no. He will say, they want to treat Bhagavan, let them treat. For them, Bhagavan is this body, and they want the name that they have touched this body. So let them have that joy. And one day, Bhagavan with so much compassion, he was allowing devotees to take over his body. And one devotee, he asked, Bhagavan, how is all these affairs happening? Bhagavan said, you know, I am always teaching them Tattvamasi, and they are always teaching me Atattvamasi. No, I am always teaching them, you are the self, and they want to convince me that I am the body. That was his state. And he said, there is no disease. If you want to say there is disease, body itself is a disease. It is the greatest disease. And if a disease has come to body, you have to say a disease has occurred to another disease. That is Bhagavan's statement, it's not my statement. Because, you know, people will think this Vedanta is very pessimistic. Because it says the body is a disease, it is a vyadhi. It's not pessimism. The body is giving you limitation. You are the infinite Brahman, and the body has convinced you that you are limited to these 5 feet. You are limited to this 65 kilos, 70 kilos, 50 kilos. You are limited to this flesh. This body is constantly giving you a hypnosis. It is constantly telling you, you are a man. You are a woman. You have liver, you have kidney. Nobody has seen anything like kidney or liver. Even a liver specialist has not seen his own liver. His own heart he has not seen. A heart specialist. He has seen only other people's heart. But constantly it is telling you, there is heart, there is problem. There is liver, there is problem. There is stomach, some good strain is running inside. Some sound is coming, some problem. Brain, some problem. And some problem you are out of it, cured. But that is only for it. It's a question of time. Fever came, fever went, it's an interval between another disease. It's only a question of time, the other disease is going to enter, and ultimately death is going to rob you of your existence. So the body itself is the greatest power which has hypnotized you, being limited, having problems, having trouble, having birth, having death, having change. And the only purpose of spiritual teaching, the only purpose of a great sage living amidst us, available 24 hours for 54 years, the only purpose of Ramana Bhagavan was to convince you that you are not the body, you are not the mind, you are not the intellect, to take you back to your pristine state where you are bodiless, mindless, timeless, deathless, pure, infinite self. To dehypnotize you. Body is hypnotizing, Guru is dehypnotizing. Mind is hypnotizing, Guru is, or Shastra is dehypnotizing. The work of Shastra and Guru is to dehypnotize you. That is why, even if you have realized the self, till you are alive, you have to worship Guru, Shastra and Ishvara. That is the method of Vedanta. Yavadayus tvaya vandyo Vedanto Guru Ishvaraha Manasa Vachasa Karmana Manasa Vacha Shruti Revaisha Nishayaha. This is the ultimate declaration of Vedas, that till you carry the body, the mind, the moment you feel you have an ego, you should have Ishvara, Guru and Shastra above you, so that it will guard you from falling back to the hypnosis of body or mind. The moment you feel body, you cannot say I am Brahman. The moment you feel the ego, you cannot say I am Brahman. Then, when you have an ego or body, when the world is there, Arunachala is there, Bhagavan is there, Ulladin Arpadi is there, his teaching is there. You have to worship Bhagavan's form, you have to worship Arunachala, you have to worship the scripture and live with bhakti. The moment you go within and know what this I is, what is this experience of I? It is not the body, it is not the mind, it is not the ego, and it is the infinite space, awareness, Chidakasha. The moment you recognize it, that very moment you know freedom is your name. Freedom is your existence. Freedom is your self. Liberation is another name for self. Liberation or nirvana is the name given to yourself. Your real name is nirvana. Your real name is Brahman. Your real name is Atman. Your real name is Arunachala. And your name is not this body's name or this person's name. That recognition, where you give real worth to your existence. You respect yourself. That is the real respect. You respect yourself because that is the real self-respect. It is not the self-respect of this personality. You know who you are. And that constant recollection, because this recollection happens in awareness. If it happens in mind, naturally, recollection is also mental, so it will go. Although you use mind in recollecting, doing self-inquiry, but the moment the mind reveals the other, reveals the self, that very moment the mind ceases to be a separate thing from the self. That very moment, this limited movement called mind loses its existence in the infinite ocean of intelligence. So from that very moment, the intelligence, that is experience of the self, remains uninterrupted. Because it is not a mental experience. It is not an intellectual experience. So even if the intellect ceases, many great saints, they out of destiny or prarabdha, they even had mental problems. Even Adi Shankaracharya's own disciple Padmapada, for a period, he had insanity. Somebody gave him some medicine and the brain was affected. But he was a jnani. And he came back to Shankaracharya crying, because on one side he knows something has happened to him. On the other side, he was blabbering. And Shankaracharya said, "This is your destiny." Because he went to Rameshwaram. When he was going, Shankaracharya said, "Don't go. Time is not good. Be here with me." But the drive was so much. The drive of destiny was so much that he left his guru and went to Rameshwaram and came back insane. Then Shankaracharya said, whether the body is affected or the mind is affected or the brain is affected, self-knowledge once gained, you will never lose. This is only prarabdha. This will go. Don't fear. This will go and you will be again established in peace, in shanti, the experience of the self. You can never lose Atma anubhuti. And again, Padmapada regained his self-experience and composure. So, that is the glory of self-knowledge. And Bhagavan here says, it is simple, it is simple, it is simple. Anything from world, you have to use the mind or brain. But here, you need no help from any organ, because it is always announcing its glory, announcing its experience in the heart as I, aham, 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 aham. And that experience is undeniable. And that you have to only just touch it with the recognizing power within you. And that pratyabhijna, we call it as pratyabhijna. The moment Guru tells you, it is just like a spectacle that you have kept in your nose. You will be searching for that glasses. Through that glass, you will be searching for it. Somebody comes, it is already there in your face. That very moment you touch, oh, it is already there. Like that, the moment Guru tells you, you are that. That very moment, the recognition dawns, the recognition arises. Although the recognition happens within time, the experience is timeless. The recognition happens now, but the experience was there in the past, is now, and will be there in the future. It is timeless. So that recognition takes you out of the boundary of the body, boundary of the mind. You go beyond the gravitational pull of body, mind, and intellect, and you are out. And the wonder is, the body continues to live in the world till the stipulated period is over, and others see the body, others see the mind, others see the body eating, sleeping, talking, but for the jnani, he is bodiless, mindless, and for him, he says it is so direct, so simple, so immediate. And we continue to reply, it is so indirect, so difficult. Somewhere in distance, this dichotomy will continue between the sage and the seeker. This will always continue, and it will always end in the seeker becoming the sage. This will always continue. It cannot be solved. It cannot be intellectually solved. Only when you touch the fire, you are no more different from it. The moment you touch fire, you become fire. So too, the moment you touch yourself within, you know that you are the self. You are not made of flesh and blood. You are not made of thoughts. You are not made of emotion. You are not made of ego. You are made of pure Chidvastu, consciousness. But others continue to see your flesh, blood, bone, your thoughts, your ego. That will continue. This waking state will continue. Dream state will continue. But for the realized sage, waking state is nothing but the self. Dream state is nothing but the self. Deep sleep state is nothing but the self. Whatever he perceives through the eyes is Atman. Whatever he hears through the ears is Atman. Whatever he smells through the nose is Atman. Whatever he tastes through the tongue is Atman. Whatever he touches through the skin is Atman. Whatever the mind thinks, feels is Atman. And the very experience of individuality is the experience of Atman. And that mystery or that glory of self-knowledge, we will continue to sing till this body falls. That is the only, in Shaivite tradition, many great devotees, once God caught hold of them, Shiva caught hold of them, they had no work in the world. And many of these devotees, they asked Ishvara, what should we do? Because now we are lost. The world is gone. What should we do? The usual reply of Lord is, continue to sing what you have experienced. Continue to sing. And that song of self-experience, divine experience, it continues. And that is what has happened now. It will continue to eternity. Because that is Arunachala Swarupa. That is Ramana Swarupa. Ramana jnana bodha. Ramana jnana anubhuti. The sweetness of Ramana experience. Avartapuryam janitam prabadye. Pandesha deshe vihritam prabadye. Shonachala prasthacharam prabadye. Bhikshum tapah klesha saham prabadye. Abrahma kitanta samam prabadye. Jitari shadvargamaham prabadye. Sarvajnata sarabhridam prabadye. Nisima karunya nidhim prabadye. Asmat prapanchadadhigam prabadye. Vishwadigokter vishayam prabadye. Kalagraha graha bhayapanutti kritanta shiksha kritinam prabadye. Vinetumartim vishayadvajanyam vijnanamurtim dadadam prabadye. Kandarpadarpa jvaravaranaya kamari leelavatam prabadye. Ajanmavarnivratinam prabadye. Kundibhridam dandadharam prabadye. Brahmasanadhyanaratam prabadye. Brahmatma bhuyam yatinam prabadye. Haram prabadye vijaram prabadye. Swatantrataya sadanam prabadye. Ameya samarthyavaham prabadye. Vishuddha vijnanivaram prabadye. Daurbhagya tapatraya karma moha santapahantaramaham prabadye. யதார்த்த சங்கல்பம் அபேத பாபம் அவாப்த காமம் விஷுச்சம் பிரபத்யே மனః பிரசாதம் பஜதாம் ததானம் முக்தஸ்மிதோல்லாசி முகம் பிரபத்யே व्यथामशेषाम् व्यपनीय मूदप्रदेन नाम्ना रमणम् प्रपद्ये शिवम् प्रपद्ये शिवदम् प्रपद्ये गुरुम् प्रपद्ये गुणिनम् प्रपद्ये मदीयहृत्पद्मजुषम् प्रपद्ये शरण्यमीशम् शरणम् प्रपद्ये यतो ममात्मा भवसि त्वमेव ततो न वाच्यम् मम किञ्चिदस्ति यथा तवेष्टम् कुरु माम् तथैव त्वाम् आत्मनाथम् रमणम् भजामि अरुणाचल शिव अरुणाचल शिव अरुणाचल शिव अरुणाचल 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 यतो ममात्मा भवसि त्वमेव ततो न वाच्यम् मम किञ्चिदस्ति यथा तवेष्टम् कुरु माम् तथैव त्वाम् आत्मनाथम् रमणम् भजामि।